All right, good morning, everybody. It is about to be 9 o'clock. It is 8:59 a.m. in the morning. Hope everybody's having a wonderful day. Now then, I wanted to give you all an update um, on the anti-nano bucket and and how I'm currently feeling. Right? Okay, here's the deal. As you now, the videos that I basically posted and showed and linked, and I did leave links to his channel. He does have another channel of which I will leave a link to, and I will do a video on that channel in very soon. I will have a link to it on there. Um, Kind of sketchy icon, but it's whatever on that one. But anyway, I wanted to give everybody an update on the situation as to how I am feeling and my current, the symptoms and stuff that I got right now. As far as, and it looks like they're messing with the excuse me, looks like they're messing with the app. But anyway, what I wanted to do is give everybody an update on the current situation on how I'm feeling, and I tested this out. I did one specific test to where I did cut stuff out of my diets, with as far as certain processed foods, but unfortunately, like for what I've had on my recent grocery list, not today, but the past few days. Well, unfortunately, I had not Pop Tarts, but I had Hot Pockets on there. Unfortunately, I did have Wheat Thins. I did have what else? I don't know about tortilla chips since that's made out of corn, but I'm not too certain about that. It depends on what's in there, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, there's that, and it was just that kind of stuff. And then I started to look, as you all saw, like I was looking up my zodiac sign. I don't do that very often though. Um, but it was mentioning. It may have not been the first one I showed, or maybe it was. I'm not certain, but I did started looking farther into that, and what do you know? And even more so, like I started getting videos showing up, like when it came to like whenever I was looking stuff like related to the Bible and whatnot, it was like be careful of what you're consuming, right? And as we all know, now you're gonna hear a topic of what this guy is gonna talk about. Now here's the thing, fellow carnivores out there, this is not telling you not to consume meat at all. So don't worry about that, okay? That's not what it is. What this is telling you is be careful of the meat from where you're getting it, because there's clean meat and there's unclean meat. I'm sure most of you may already know unclean meat is those it's the meat products that they have out there that has so many chemical byproducts in there from these factories and these processing plants, and a lot of these foul ingredients that they're just injecting into these into so much of different meat products. The cleanest meat you can possibly ever get is from your own kills when you go out hunting. Game meat is the cleanest damn meat you can possibly get. Um, Either that or go straight to a farm and get it from there. Get a fresh cut straight from the farm. You can't get as any. But at the same time, like even before, so I don't know if they are injecting this stuff in the cows and the chickens even while they're alive, and that's the problem. That's another problem. That's what I'm saying. Like the best clean meat you could possibly get is from your own kills. That's the cleanest meat you could possibly get. Um, Now, what did I do today? Now, here's the thing. Since I started getting all these warning signs about this, and I'm telling you, these warning signs are coming out of the woodwork. I don't even think the perps were responsible for this. And the zodiac signs was mentioning it. Some of the videos when I was looking up stuff, as I mentioned before, related to the Bible, that was coming up from it. And what it was talking about was the stuff some of the stuff that I should be eating, like for instance, like dude, after I did what, like three different detoxes with the anti-nano bucket, this is what I did. I strictly got vegetables and some fruit drinks too, but a lot of this stuff is the good stuff, and fortunate for me, this stuff is most if not all the stuff is labeled non-GMO, so that's a good thing. However, here's what I did, dude. I took what, a sip of the V8. Don't get V8 if you don't get the V8 splash that has high fructose corn syrup in it. And yes, I definitely mean the fruit drinks that they got. Don't get that. I took a few sips of the V8, and then I got what's that? Some green onion, and some of you seen regular onion, but this is green onion. I even got a celery stalk with the a jar of ranch dressing, dude. I ate the celery stalk with the ranch dressing, right? And I even got the what's that? Almonds. Almonds are good for the brain, so I ended up eating a few of that too. And let me tell you, my mood, the way I feel, completely did a damn 360 in an instant. It did a complete 360 in an instant. It definitely makes a big difference. So when it comes to these processed foods, I had to throw out the cheese snacks because they had canola oil in it. If you're not familiar with what canola oil is, that has actually, when they first came out with canola oil in the food production, that's actually been known to be one of the leading causes of heart attacks. Now then, so I've cut the canola oil out. I've long since been cut high fructose corn syrup out too. And anything that's like processed snacks, processed foods, anything like that, I don't eat it. Today I immediately cut that shit out of my diet immediately, because the only way I'm gonna be able to really be able to tell the big difference of what that bucket, not the bucket, but what that barrel is doing. The only way is for me to actually stick to the diet too. Got to, because it's going to be the only way to basically, drain this stuff out of my system. One thing I remember, and I think this guy, I think that they, I don't know what the fuck they were thinking, but this dude, he wasn't feeling well, and everybody. Here's the thing: even after I mentioned this, remember the ingredients I mentioned to detox this stuff out of your system, the parasites and all that shit. The brown rice, what is that? The brown rice, the dried beans, the seaweed, and here's the thing: they do have iodized sea salt mixed with they do have iodized salt mixed with sea salt, but most of the times when you go to your supermarket, they'll be split up. So if they're split up, if you got a little bit extra cash, it's best to get both of them, and all you gotta do is just mix it, and then you're good from there. Put that in a pressure cooker. This stuff will come out through your waste. Okay? That's where it's going to be coming out at. And I'm not talking about just dead. I'm talking about the live ones too. That's now at first I was doing that a lot. Problem was when I was doing that is when I was still working. As you all know now, so I may have mentioned this before, I'm not too certain if I did. Where I was getting my seaweed from was Walmart, right? But I long since stopped going there because of the bullshit that they got going on now. You know that they're pushing for a mandated mask in there, and you know damn well Walmart works hand in hand with Big Brother. So you know they got the facial recognition software all through that shopping unit. So I mean, just be careful if you go there. That's all I'm gonna say. But so unfortunately for that, I'm not doing that. But since I got the anti-nano barrel, I'm checking to see what's the difference of when I'm changing my diet around, since all those warnings came out. Now I'm being careful even where I get my vegetables from too. I don't rinse my vegetables with the sink water. I use distilled water to actually rinse them down, because I mean it wouldn't really make a difference if it's no point rinsing it with faucet water when you know there's fluoride in that. So I don't use that. But anyway, this guy brings up several good points. If you're wondering, it was another video he did. I don't know if he mentions it in this one, but the celery stalks are good for the bones. As you would look, the celery stalk itself is like in the shape of a bone. If you were to cut the leafy parts off, it literally looks like it's in the shape of a bone. The walnuts are good for the brain. The carrots are good for the eyes. For women that's pregnant, avocados are good for pregnant women. But then again, avocados are pretty much one of the most healthiest foods you could possibly eat. So I wasn't joking. Like I was really, really going down. I don't think that I immediately gave up meat entirely. No way. No. The only type of meat I will eat is the type of meat that I'll basically will get if I ever go out hunting, or if I can find a trusty farmer that has meats, and I'll get it from there. But anything coming from the store, no, I'm afraid I might have to cut that out. However, tuna is still okay, as you know, that's fish. But that's bringing us into it in the next category. And from what other the things that they were talking about that you should eat when it comes to fish, any type of bottom feeder fish you should not eat. But there is one particular meat that I didn't mention before: pigs. I'm afraid everybody, some of you may really love pork, some of you may really love ham. I'm afraid you got to cut that out of your diet. Why? Because it's telling you pigs are definitely not something you want to be eating. Why? Well, the slop of which they have been eating has been known to actually contain parts of their own kind. So that's cannibalism. They're eating parts of their own kind. I hope people will understand that. And you can research this and see it for yourself if you want to know. If you need to know. Don't just take my word for it. Do the research. But yeah. So as I was seeing it, I'm like, okay, so that's obviously a bad thing, right? So okay, I don't really eat ham, and I really don't eat pork all that much at all. Really, I've long since stopped eating that. So now I know to keep it out of my diet entirely. But that still doesn't mean that meat itself is bad. Just don't eat pork. Don't eat crab. Don't eat shrimp. Don't eat lobster. And I know, I freaking love snow crab legs, man. I love those, but I gotta cut it out. I never really had lobster before. I never did. Never did. I've had shrimp before, but I'm not too big on the shrimp. But the thing is, it's like these things is you got to understand these things are eating, or these things are technically bottom feeders. So it's because of the stuff that they're eating that's the problem. Remember, the concept is the saying goes: you are what you eat. So you got to be careful out there. So again, it's not saying just going straight. It's not saying not being a carnivore. It's just saying be careful where you're getting your meat products from. Because they are vaccinated in meat. They are putting a lot of these byproducts in there. So, and that goes for just about any meat product on the market, including beef jerky. And I know I'm pissed off about that too. I'm at the point where it's best to just make homemade beef jerky. Just make beef jerky from home and shit. Make your own garden and all that crap. But if you want to protect if you ever grow foods, in order to protect it from GMO poisoning, you must have a greenhouse around it. Otherwise, that stuff travels through. Remember, there's spray in the sky, so that stuff is traveling through the air. You need to have your garden in a greenhouse. That's the only way to protect it from that shit. The only way. Anyway, I claim no copyright for this video, but I'm only using this for educational purposes so people will understand and know, so that they can also take steps to protect themselves. Without further ado, I play the video for you all.
Hello everybody, it's Paul Neeson with Torah Life Ministries, and I have some questions here. And one of the questions I got is from a reader that says, Paul, how do you feel about eating meat? Do you believe that since Adam and Eve ate fruits and vegetables, that we should today? Yeshua told Peter, not call things unclean, which I have called clean. I am also anti-GMO and try to eat as healthy as possible, but it's so hard. Well, it's several questions in one here, but the first question is, how do I feel about eating meat? Or do you believe that since Adam and Eve ate fruits and vegetables that we should today? Well, I definitely believe we should eat fruits and vegetables in our diet, not because Adam and Eve did it, but because the Bible called in Genesis 1:29 the food for man fruits and vegetables. So that is the reason we need to eat fruits and vegetables. So Genesis 1:29, check it out. And Adam and Eve did that. That's what they did in the garden. They ate the fruits and vegetables. About eating meat, yes, it was told in Scripture permission was given to eat meat, but that was after the flood, or even during the flood. There were no fruits and vegetables available, so they had to eat meat. And the meat, when it was told they could eat meat, there were guidelines and instructions around that. They were told to eat meat that was called clean meat. Unclean meat isn't even considered food. And I tell you, I challenge anyone out there to find biblically clean meat today that's healthy. Because we got to look at two things. We got to look at what the Bible says and what our body says. And man has destroyed the food so much, it might still be biblically kosher, but it might not be healthy for our body. And vice versa, it might be healthy for our body, but not biblically kosher when it comes to meat. So you have to make sure you're getting both of those. So if you could find biblically kosher meat, or meat that's okay, clean meats, that's healthy, then that's the way to go. Now, some of you might say, well, how can meat not be healthy if our Creator said it was okay? Again, because it's what man has done to the meat. So, don't be fooled, folks, because most kosher food today is not healthy. This is why many rabbis that strictly follow the kosher guidelines in the Scriptures are overweight or often get sick, because it's not healthy. So we want to make sure what I call common sense kosher is eating meat that is healthy and kosher. And it's not that easy to find today that way. So if you can't find it, you're better off leaving it alone. But if you could find that and you desire to consume it, that's okay according to Scripture and according to health. However, if you really want to be healthy, you want to eat the highest quality food for your body, and that is getting the fresh, raw, organic, ripe fruits and vegetables and nuts and seeds in your body as the majority of your diet. Because another problem with the people that do find meat that is healthy and kosher is they eat way too much or way too often. And that creates a problem, because the Bible talks about gluttony being a major issue. So you want to be careful with that. And meat should not be eaten as much as it's eaten today. And too much meat is going to cause a tremendous issue. So your best bet is to have the majority of your diet fresh fruits and vegetables, because our Creator said so, not because Adam and Eve did it. And we want to be careful with eating the correct meats. But the question goes on to ask, it says, Yeshua told Peter, do not call things unclean, which I have called clean. Exactly what he has called clean. He hasn't called unclean food clean. He never did that. The whole issue with Peter and the sheep had to do not with food, but with accepting and eating with non-Jewish people, which at the time, most Jewish people wouldn't even consider doing that, because they considered people unclean, and they wouldn't eat with those non-Jewish people. So our Creator was showing Peter the sheet with the unclean animals, and when he said, eat this, he was talking about eat with these people. It's a metaphor, idiom, or whatever you want to call it, but it had nothing to do with now you're allowed to eat unclean food. Because as you say, what our Creator called clean is clean, what he called unclean is unclean. Unclean can never be made clean. It's in terms of food-wise, it's just not something that you need to put in your body. If our Creator calls it an abomination, it's an abomination. So, people personally can repent if they're unclean and now be clean, or if they're not righteous and they can now be righteous. But food is a different story. A lot of people often will say, well, if you pray over anything, that makes it okay. No. If you pray over something, it says in Scriptures, we're commanded to pray over things that are clean and healthy, but we're never to pray over food that's an abomination. That's not going to change it, making it healthy. So we need to keep those things in perspective, and we need to look at all the Scriptures and not just one thing. As for being hard to eat, mostly fruits and vegetables, anytime you make a change, there's a challenge. But in time, you can overcome that by forming a new habit, a healthy habit. I'll tell you, it's much harder to eat animals than it is to eat fruits and vegetables. And once you start understanding health, you start to realize the energy that goes into eating animals and eating meat, and versus just eating fruits and vegetables. And everything I said about animals is the same thing for animal products. So we got to be careful with things like meat or milk and cheese and things like this. Most of it is not kosher and definitely not healthy. So we definitely got to be careful with that and make sure we're researching and getting things that are common sense kosher and not just biblically or rabbinically kosher. All right? If you have any comments or questions about that, post up below the video. Thanks for checking us out. Until then, have a great day and shalom, shalom. Hello, everybody. This is Paul Neeson.
All right. So as you see there, as he mentioned, there's oh yeah, there was a. Hold on, what was that? Oh, that was that freaking. If you're wondering what that other video is, basically it was a hen playing as a mother to a bunch of kittens. It was pretty. I think that was happening. What that may have been in. I think either Japan. I know. Like it was either somewhere around Japan or somewhere around China. They got this place called the Cat Island or the Kitty Island or whatever, or Island of Cats, and like literally, I mean literally, the place is literally jam packed, full of cats all over the place. You can't walk down the street without seeing a cat anywhere. It's like it's man, it's definitely a sight to behold, definitely. But anyway, I wanted to show that video to people just so they'll get an understanding on like how they should change their diet around. Again, it's not that you can't eat meat at all, man. You can, but you got to be careful about where it's coming from. You got to be careful because you don't want the type of meat products that they're basically, putting these vaccinations in, that they're putting all of these toxic chemical byproducts in. You don't want stuff like that, man, because you're gonna feel terrible if you consume that. You're gonna feel terrible, and I know for a fact because you feel that like you can, and I'm not the only one who basically experienced this. You feel the difference when you change your diet around. It's not that you got to really, make certain like changes of everywhere. No, 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 no. You don't even have to be vegan. That's not even. I want people to understand this message is not telling people to be vegan. Okay, that's not what this is. Because I know some people may even get that idea. No, that is not what this is at all. You can still consume meats, but just be careful of where it's coming from. Fruits and vegetables are okay, but it's best to grow. If you want fruits, grow your own fruits from home in a greenhouse. Make sure it's in a greenhouse because that stuff can travel through the air. Man, I still gotta draw up the plans for my boathouse. But basically my plan, as I mentioned before, my plan is basically this. Oh, and if Vulcan, if you see this, I did mention this before, but I will try to email you again. I have been trying to reach out. I know that they are, the enemy is in control of Google, and they do have the ability to block emails. If you see this vid, just let me know if you did in the comments. But I am definitely trying to reach out. I really am, and I'm trying to reach out to just about every other TI that is in Louisiana and Texas, because as you all know, those two are pretty close to one another, and seems as though like that's the situation. And honestly, here's what I'm looking at. We're better off definitely working with one another to try to come up with a solution. Because like the one spot you don't want to be in is when they drop the hammer down on everything. If you all saw the last video, as she mentioned, they're doing this in segments, and the stuff is going to get tighter and tighter and tighter. We can't just wait for that to happen. I'm willing to fight against this stuff. But let me tell you something with Tony. You know the videos, the man who basically made the anti-nano bucket, what he was talking about. This is what he's basically said what was going to happen. And what he said was going to happen is they were going to basically, try to get everybody eased up and conditioned to all this bullshit they were pushing, right? And what they were going to do, not now, but later on, someday soon, somewhere later on within the years, they were going to turn the same shit that they're doing to TIs. They were going to turn this shit on everybody. Remember, and I've been saying this before, everybody is breathing that nano shit in. Everybody. If it's in the sky and you're breathing that stuff, you're breathing it. You're wearing a mask, guess what? That's making it technically what's going on. If you're not going to, if you're not breathing that stuff in, when you're having a mask, you're going to end up dying sooner, boy, because as you know, you're breathing in your own carbon. I think what was that? The carbon dioxide, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong about that. It's something to do with some cybercarbon, I know. If not that, then it's either that. It's either going to be that or like some other stuff. It's either going to be that or starvation and stuff like that. And what I mean by the starvation, well, as you all know, and they have done this already. They have people locked in their homes for about a whole, what's that, 14 days? What is that, like, technically 7 and 7? What is that, like 2 weeks? Dude, what about the people who hadn't had a chance to go grocery shopping? Can a person really survive without going? It's worse because, dude, you got people who have families. You got babies, man. A baby cannot survive no 14 days without no food. No, that's impossible, man. That is impossible. Why? A baby's body structure is a lot smaller than an adult's structure. They don't have a whole lot of fat built up around their body structure, so as you know, they don't last that long, man. There's no way they could. There's no way they could. That's one of the things that why I was mentioning the sun gazing thing that helps you decalcify your pineal gland, and also it helps you to be able to sustain a healthy body without even having to eat so much. Little do you know, by doing that alone, you don't even have to eat a whole lot at all. There have been people who have gone through a whole week without eating anything just from sun gazing. Now, that's their part of that. I've not tried this myself, so I'm not too certain on it. But if I try it out, I'll be certain to let you all know. But yeah, man, that's basically where my worry is. But at the same time, despite that, I know better than to just go right off grid with this nano crap still in my body. I know better than to do that. And I'm not falling for that one, because just with me walking to the store and back alone, I'm already getting beamed down like crazy. I'm like, this stuff needs to be out of my system before I go off grid. So this is basically just an update of my situation. I changed my diet around today completely, and start of that, I feel incredible. I literally feel incredible. But I want everybody to understand that if you make an anti-nano barrel, whenever you get out of that thing, you have to rinse yourself down. I ended up so tired out. That I wasn't even able to rinse off. That is how how worn down I was from the third use of this thing. So it's not just using the barrel. You also got to change your diet around, because you don't want to just be feeding this stuff. It's, food for it to reproduce itself. You don't want to do that. No. You want to be able to detoxify yourself, and you want to be able to have a healthy diet so it's not able to reproduce, and it's just you can immediately give that bullshit the boot out of your system. You're healthy, you're back to 100%, and you're ready to go. But my plan was basically to definitely make a boathouse. But if any other TI within the area wanted one for themselves, because it's going to need manpower, right? We're going to need manpower for something like that. I was wondering, maybe we can actually work together. I'm willing to pull funds together to get whatever materials necessary that's needed to build either one whole one or just several ones for our own selves. That's basically what the plan that I was trying to go for. To basically make several different boat houses. This is equivalent to the amount of people who work onto it and whatnot, because it seems like that's probably going to be the safest bet. Like, you don't have to, as long as you don't put an engine on it, you could easily have like a paddler and a fin at the bottom of it too, in order for you to make certain turns. So it's still not so much of it still doesn't count as an actual engine, because as long as you don't put an engine on the thing, you don't have to pay no taxes for it. You don't have to have none of that crap. You just got to follow certain regulations to where you're not blocking off I think it was like a certain type of path of water or whatever, something like that. But yeah, that's about it. That's about it. But I feel like that's the safest bet to do that, to be out on the water, because you got food all in the ocean. You got so much food out there. You got salmon, you got trout, you got all kinds of fish out there, man. But anyway, the Bible was mentioning the type of food in the sea that was best to eat is definitely fish. If it doesn't have fins or scales, then don't eat it. That's what it was mentioning. But anyway, I don't want to ramble on here. I'm gonna go ahead and end this video here. I am gonna leave a link in the description. I cannot remember what it was for. Oh wait, now I remember. Some of you remember the Schumann resonator? Well, you're definitely gonna want to check out the link that's gonna be in the description. You will not be disappointed. Stay safe, stay strong, everybody.